Hey, Ed here from 10,000 Foot View, and I've got another Google Ads quick tip for you today. Just before I jump in, just a reminder to please subscribe to the channel. We do 1 to 2 posts every week, and we'll keep you up to date on all things Google Ads. So today I'm going to talk about time savers for Google Ads, and I've got 10 of them I'm going to go through. There is a companion article I will link as well in the notes. But let's go ahead and jump right in. So the first one is automating reporting. So if you work with a number of clients, or maybe you have a whole bunch of different ad platforms and you're DIY, and you're manually generating reports every week or every month by creating spreadsheets and then kind of having to do like a write-up in a different place like Word. It's a lot of work, honestly, and you would benefit a lot by automating that. There are a bunch of different tools you can use. You can get like a dedicated reporting tool like Slido, which we use at my agency, or you could, um, even use some reporting from GA4, right, where you can schedule reports to automatically export as a PDF. So there are different solutions for that, but I mean, basically anything you can do to automate reporting, it's going to save you a load of time and repeating tasks that are just busy work and not really adding any value. All right, number two is right sizing your ads account, and this is no longer 2019, so please ditch the skags. If you have, you know, 20 campaigns and one or two will do, you really got to rein that in. If you have a campaign that's using SKAGs and you have, 50 ad groups, each with its own keyword and ad, and only 40 or say only like five of those are serving and 45 are not, like just you got to kind of bring things up to date. Fewer campaigns, fewer ad groups, fewer keywords. Simplify, simplify, simplify. It's going to make your management a lot easier. All right, third thing is using Google Ads Editor for major updates. And so one good example of that would be is if you're operating in one state currently and you want to expand to 7 more states and you're going to make 6 more campaigns, don't build those by hand one at a time inside of Google Ads. Use the editor to replicate the one campaign, and then make all of your changes and then just sync that in one shot. It's going to save you probably a couple of hours of work at least, and will probably also help you avoid making errors, since that's a lot of work. Another example of using editor would be if you have to replicate a campaign that uses zip code targeting. So maybe you have like 50 zip codes you're targeting. There's no way to copy the zip codes from one campaign to the other. You'd have to manually add those again. But with editor, you can easily just copy that from one campaign to the other. Okay, next time saver is automated bidding. This day and age, pretty much 95% plus of campaigns should be running automated bidding. The only time we don't run it is if we don't have conversion tracking, which I think we have one client right now that doesn't have conversion tracking. And that's a very specific situation where it's like an insurance company, they can't get access to the site. The other case is if it's a brand new, like net new account with a brand new campaign, and we think the numbers are going to be very low in terms of conversions, we'll start with manual bidding and then switch as soon as we can. The other benefit of just, I mean, you don't have to then constantly adjust individual keyword bids, is you don't have to worry about bid adjustments, for devices and locations and ad schedules and all that stuff kind of goes away. You will save a lot of time. You can invest in other places. All right, number 5 is using monitoring scripts and tools. This is especially helpful if you have a lot of accounts to manage, where you can like output stuff into a spreadsheet or use scripts to just notify you if there's an issue, like if there's 0 impressions for a day. Otherwise, logging into every account once a day, and giving it a once over can take a lot of time once you're to like 10, 20, 30 accounts. So you definitely want to automate that monitoring. Number 6 is using ad variations. So instead of, if you have 50 RSAs in your account, and you're going through one by one and looking for opportunities. Oh, this headline's not performing so well. I'm going to replace it. Or this headline's performing really well. I want to test a slightly different ad variation. Use ad variations, which allows you to test everything at scale. So you can test 50 ads that have the same headline against a slightly different version of that. And the other benefit of ad variations is Google will give you statistically significant reporting to know whether or not the improvement actually is statistically significant, and then you'll know whether or not to actually implement the change. Okay, number 7 is using automated rules. I'd say we use these a lot less frequently than we did a couple of years ago. One main reason for that is with automated bidding. We're no longer making like bid adjustments based on rules, which we used to do a lot. But one place we do still use them a lot is initiating a new campaign or new ad. Say like if you're running a sale for Black Friday, you can have all of your stuff set to go at midnight instead of having to like stay up and log in at 12:01 to turn on your campaigns and then turn them off after Cyber Monday. So that's just one example. There are a lot of great use cases for automated rules, and you should be using them to streamline your work. All right, number 8 is PPC management software. At my agency, we do not use this. I think there's a good use case for it for companies that are DIY that have a very large accounts. Maybe you're spending like a few $100,000 a year, a month. And there's just a lot of complexity of running like 100 different campaigns. Using something like an Optimizely or an Optio could probably cut your work by like a third, just in terms of the automations they offer. I'd say there's less of a use case for agencies that are well established, like mine, where we already have like SOPs and like our own automation we've built with scripts and other methods to where, dedicating ourselves to third-party tool, we don't really kind of want to get roped into that where we're kind of we're married to that. But there are definitely agencies that do use those tools and they swear by them. So it's definitely worth having a look. Number 9 is using list-based exclusions and negatives. So if you have a bunch of campaigns that where negative keywords or other types of exclusions would apply to all of those, you definitely want to be managing them with lists. Instead of, oh, I just added 5 negative keywords to this campaign. Now I got to go into that one, go to the negative keywords and add those again. First of all, it's just a lot of extra work. But secondly, you can very quickly get out of sync if you make a mistake. Like maybe you have a campaign paused, and because it's paused, it's not visible to you, and you forget to add the negatives there. And then 2 weeks later, you turn that campaign on, and now the negatives are not associated, right? But if you have a list and it's already associated, anything you add to the list automatically updates. So it's a great tool that you should be using just to stay more organized and to cut your workload. All right, that brings us to number 10. And I think I mentioned this a couple ago. Or a moment ago, which is create a standard operating procedure. So this is important if you are working in a team or if you work on a lot of different accounts, is to have a repeatable process that works consistently. And this way, if you have somebody that's working on a bunch of campaigns or a bunch of accounts and they leave, somebody else has to take that work over. The campaign structure and settings and creative strategy, it's all going to be based on a procedure and there won't be any surprises. So it's going to help you, and that's just like one example of the way it helps you. It can help you in many ways to manage things in an easier way. So I will post the link to the companion article in the notes. That is it for today. I hope you found this useful, and I will see you next time.